the number one questions I get. So this is a good one to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do it now. Yes, yes. I think what a great day, right? We get to do Excel first thing in the morning. Okay, now this one, I do get a common question on the one of these is one of, there's like 5 questions on Excel exercises for the whole, like if I had to have the top 5 questions I get for the whole semester on various Excel exercises, this one has one of them. Okay, so let's do it. It's not very long, right? It's only 5 cells, so this is going to go pretty quickly. I haven't changed anything, Michael. The Friday, we're going to go over what's due Friday coming up. Let me see here. This is what's due Friday, Michael. We just skipped right ahead, but that's what's due Friday. So I'm not changing anything. I don't change things. Haha. I say that and something will happen where I have to change, but I don't typically change things. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Okay. So let's go to this exercise and kind of look and see what we have to begin with, right? So what we have is we're going to calculate 2 ratios. So here we're doing ratios. At chapter 12, by the way, we'll be talking about ratio analysis, but we've got two ratios in every chapter to kind of look at. And ratios are a way to kind of evaluate the health of the company with respect to those areas. So it's like a health measure, right? But you have lots of different measures. So this one, we're given not a balance sheet or anything. We're just given some excerpts from the financial statements, right? We have current assets, current liabilities, sales. So we have 2019, 2018. By the way, these 2 numbers here, accounts receivable less allowance for uncollectible accounts, those 2 numbers, if we take accounts receivable, subtract that allowance, which is a contra asset, we get the net accounts receivable. So that's what's going on. You just got this little schedule off to the side that's how you get the number there. Okay, and you can even see if you go into the data sheet, you can see it's adding those 2 together right up in the formula bar. Okay, so look, I made a worksheet called screenshot. Obviously, you don't need that either. So anyways, back to enter. So we're first told to calculate the quick ratio. And the quick ratio, we did learn about the current ratio. The current ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities. It's how much resources do you have available to cover your bills that will come due in the next year. And the current ratio should be 1.5 or higher. Well, then there's another ratio closely related to it called the quick ratio. And the quick ratio says, what if you had to get current assets fast or quickly? Could you cover your bills? So it's a more stringent measure. So it's saying you can use cash, short-term investments, accounts receivable, but let's not include inventory, because if we have an economic downturn, it may be hard to sell our inventory. So let's redo that current ratio. We'll rename it quick ratio and see how we are. And typically the quick ratio, you want to see, I don't know, 0.9 or higher, 0.8 higher. It's not a hard fast rule of thumb. It's just one measure of many. So the current quick test ratio, so what we're going to do here is we're going to have to use parentheses again, because we're going to have to add the things on the numerator. The numerator is going to be our cash, any short-term investments if we have them, accounts receivable, and let's see what else we have. So let me just do, I did a equals, I'm doing a left parenthesis. Now I'm going to go back over here. So here's my cash, right? I'm going to add my short-term investments, and I'm going to add my net accounts receivable, right? So I've added those 3, and then I'm going to put the right parentheses. So I'm adding my 3 cash short-term investments and accounts receivable net, right? Adding those together, and then I'm going to divide that by my current liabilities, which are right there. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you see the formula there. So what I'm doing in the parentheses, in the formula for this, is I'm taking my cash plus my short-term investments plus my net accounts receivable, and that has to be in parentheses so that those can be added together, and then we divide by current liabilities. If we didn't put the parentheses, the answer would be completely different because Excel follows math rules that say if there aren't any parentheses, you're going to do your division, multiplication, division first. So without parentheses, it would take net receivables, divide by current assets, and then add cash and investments, which won't work. So that's why those parentheses are needed. Okay, so that one's not bad. Okay, now the next one, compare the quick ratio to the industry average. We have a choice of better or worse, so let's look back at our data. The question says, how does the quick ratio compare with the industry average of 0.92? Well, we would like the quick ratio to be higher is better. So if we're higher than the industry average of 0.92, we're going to put better there. Okay, cool, yay, right? So those obviously weren't the questions, the question that I get. 1 day sales. This is in anticipation of making the next calculation. So this just makes the calculation a little bit easier. Okay, so 1 day sales. What we're going to do here is we are going to calculate the average sales per day. So we're going to do equals. We're going to go back over here and get our net sales for the year of 2019. We're going to divide by 365. Okay. So that one's pretty straightforward, right? Okay. Now, the next one. This is one of those things you have to trust me on. I'm going to type it in, and then we're going to dissect it, right? So this is a trust me here on this. Okay, so the next one is asking us for our days sales and receivable. Let's look back at the instructions. Okay, calculate the days outstanding, compare it, days sale outstanding. So that's what this is. Days sales and receivables is days sales outstanding. So looking at the instructions, it says compared to the industry credit terms of 30 days. So look at this A here. Use the Excel roundup function and round it to the nearest whole dollar. Round it to the nearest whole dollar, round up. Round up means what it says, round up. And that's a convention. Different industries, different ratio analysis deal with things differently. And we want a whole number here. And it's telling us specifically to use roundup, right? So I want to call that out because oftentimes people calculate this answer without the roundup. And if you calculate it without the roundup, the answer becomes 24. And you're like, this isn't right. I did it right, but it's not right because we're specifically told to use the roundup function. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to start with the formula, and I'm going to use the roundup formula. And I would say this formula here that we're doing is probably the most challenging one, kind of, but bear with me and we'll see what we do. I'm using 3 parentheses because I've already done this. I know how many parentheses I need. So round equals, round up, 3 parentheses. Okay, left parenthesis, left parenthesis, left parenthesis. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to point to G11, which is, wait, yeah, G11, yeah. Yes, you are going to type the roundup. Yes, you do need to type the roundup. So what we're doing is we're taking our average accounts receivable. So our average, the formula is average accounts receivable we need to deal with. So we have to calculate, that's one set of parentheses in here. So we're dealing with the first thing, the 2 accounts receivable. So the end of last year plus the end of this year, divide by 2, that's going to give us our average accounts receivable we need for the formula. So I'm going to take, I'm pointing to instructions G11 plus the other accounts receivable, which is E11, and I'm going to close my one parenthesis and divide by 2. So what I've got right now, the G11 plus E11 divided by 2, and I'm going to put a parenthesis around that. What that does is that calculates my average accounts receivable. Okay, so that's where I'm using two sets of parentheses. I have a set of parentheses around last year's accounts receivable plus this year's accounts receivable. I'm going to divide that by 2 to get the average accounts receivable. And now what I want to do is I'm going to divide by, and I want to divide by the going to divide by the average. Okay, so I take my average. I'm just trying to think through the formula. Average accounts receivable divide by our average daily sales. Okay, so I'm going back to my enter answers, and I'm going to divide by this number I just calculated. Okay, and then before I can put my ending parenthesis on there, I have to do one more thing. I have to tell it how many decimal places I want. So I'm going to put a 0 and then my ending parenthesis. And here's where I hold my breath and hope I've typed it right? I'm going to hit enter. Woo! Yay, I did it right. Okay. And don't worry, I have this on a slide coming up so we can talk about it again. So you'll have the opportunity to see it again, but that's what we're doing here. So what we're doing is we are taking the middle part, and I'm going to dissect this again in another slide. We have to first in parentheses take last year's accounts receivable net plus this year's accounts receivable net and divide by 2. So we're getting the average accounts receivable, and then we're dividing it by 1 day's sales. And that's what we just calculated in B11. And then we're telling it round that up to 0 decimal places. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you that formula again. I've got it typed out, but the comparison of the DSO to credit terms, this is saying we're on average, we're collecting our accounts receivable every 25 days. Let's go back to our instructions. And it says the company has credit terms of net 30 days. So we're not comparing industry, we're comparing it to our own credit terms. So our credit terms call for customers to pay within 30 days. They're actually paying within 25 days. So that's actually better. We'd like to get things in faster. So the lower the number there, the better. So I do want to point out that you can't always say higher's better or lower's better. This first one, we want the quick ratio to be as high as possible. So that one's better because it's higher. This one over here is lower than our credit terms, and that's better. So you have to interpret these. Okay, so again, let me go to my slide here. Okay, so this is that formula. So that middle part there is doing last year's accounts receivable net plus this year's. That's one set of parentheses. And then the next set of parentheses is dividing by 2 to get the average. And then the last set is saying, okay, we're going to round up this whole thing. So we're going to take our average accounts receivable, divide by our 1 day's sales, and we want to round it up with 0 decimal places. Okay. So what do you think of that one? I assume some of you are still typing away. And I kind of shortcutted it here. I put B11 here. You'll notice on my formula that I did here, it actually comes out to enter answers B11, but that's just saying it's on this worksheet as opposed to the other worksheet. Okay, cool. Thank you, Katie. Well, I'm going to go on, but if I get questions in the chat room, let me know. Let me know if you have questions as we go on. But it's not bad. It just looks a little overwhelming to see it. And you have to know